The Warriors beat the Rockets 95-85. What a game. Almost big comeback from the Rockets. Didn't happen. Let's go to the box score. Steph Curry, 31-6. Jimmy Butler, 25-7-6. Pods had a decent game with 14 points, 8 rebounds. For the Rockets, it was just Sengun, 26-9. Jabari off the bench, 11-6. And Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green missing in action.
Oof.
MIA did not show up. Couldn't hit a shot.
A lot of Rockets couldn't hit a shot. It was crazy.
Didn't
It was
do
crazy.
nothing. Yeah, but I mean, Fred took 11 threes, bro.
I mean, a lot of them were open. A lot of them were
13
open.
13 threes. I'm sorry. I had
13.
11 in my head because of the last two at the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
a
but it
lot
was
of
like
them
2
were
for 11.
open. He should have hit a
them were
lot of
open.
those. Yes.
Yep.
Early on, it was just Sengun who, I mean, the offense ran through him, and he couldn't be stopped inside, but just did not have any help. And then when the Warriors went to that 1-3-1, 1-2-2 matchup zone, it had the Rockets in hell, man. They had no answers in the second quarter for that. Could not shoot the basketball. That's where the Warriors won this game to me, was in the second quarter, in that third quarter stretch before the Rockets made their ferocious comeback. The Rockets just could not figure out anything. Udoka could not figure out a lineup until he put in Jabari Smith and Steven Adams. To me, that changed the game. I thought Jabari was awesome today. I thought Steven Adams was phenomenal today. Jabari, he had 11 points, but he hit big shots, got big offensive rebounds. Steven Adams, huge offensive rebounds, was a presence in the paint where if you're going to have an advantage in the against the Warriors, it's in the paint. They're a small team.
Yep.
But just overall, man, a physical game. The refs didn't call shit.
Yes, on both sides. On
Bro,
both sides. Nobody
did
can
not
complain.
call anything.
And this feels like this is going to be the type of series where it's going to be just physical all throughout because of the teams that are playing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just seemed to bother the Rockets a little more than it bothered the Warriors. Also, Udoka with a horrible stretch. The Podge challenge was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then it follows up with an obvious out-of-bounds call that would have been off Dre, would have been Rockets ball. Steph hits a three, dagger, game.
Dagger. It felt like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, they just couldn't recover. They just couldn't recover. There was still some time left, but they just did not have the offense. Didn't have the offense, essentially, to make the comeback. I thought that 1-3-1, that zone that they ran against the Rockets, gave them fits. Udoka didn't figure it out in time. The Rockets didn't figure it out in time, and that's how they lose game one.
Yeah. That sequence, like you said, them losing a challenge on that with that call, like because they didn't have a challenge, they weren't able to challenge that out of bounds call, which again led to the Steph dagger. But Steph was ridiculous the whole game. Some of the shots he was hitting was out of this world. And you've said this many
that fadeaway, that off bounds, that was insane.
Insane. And you've said this many times before when you said that Steph is the best show when he's on a hot streak. Like
the best thing I'm just watching in all sports, a Steph heater.
Yeah, like it's just crazy. So, to me, it looked like a veteran team going against a young team, and I hate that. I hate saying that, but it just looked like when you seen what how the shots that Steph was making and how calm he looked throughout, and like the plays that Jimmy was making, compared to how inconsistent the Rockets were playing. Fred got to hit some of them shots. Like, first of all, when it comes down to it, like some of them were open shots. He needs to hit some of those shots.
No, you're right.
Like there were some of them like that has to go in, but it was just so rough. It was just so rough on that part. I mean, also credit to the Warriors defense. Like sometimes we don't give enough credit to the Warriors overall defense. I know we talk about Draymond being one of the best defensive players, but overall, their defense was great. I think going into this series, my thinking was always that if Sengun has a good series, they have a chance just because he's going to have an advantage the whole series. Mm-hmm. And he obviously he played well. The two big lineup, how well it worked in that little stretch during the comeback, it just to me every time when they run the two big lineup and it's working, it always surprises me because nobody really runs a two big lineup anymore. It's the new NBA, like this not. It's never a thing. So putting out two bigs who are not really floor stretchers, and like Sengun can hit a three, but like he's not doing that even in that lineup. Like he's still working in the mid post and throughout the paint, while Steven Adams is moving through the dunker spot. So when they were able to make that stretch and just like overly like attacking the boards and made that run, I was like, okay, we might have a game. But then it was like it would be like a Steph big three or a stop, and then what was it? Gary Payton getting like a dunk or sneak it in for a layup. Um, Obviously, it looks like it feels like the Rockets could play way better than they did tonight. Like it's just hands down, like they could have a better game, but your key players can't have these type of games. Like Jalen Green needs to have a consistent game.
Yeah.
Fred Van Fleet needs to shoot better. They just need more from everybody else.
I mean, Amen Thompson didn't have a good game either, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think he played that well.
Yeah,
The backcourt was brutal. Jalen and Fred, they were both brutal. If we're
yeah,
just keeping it 100. And listen, Steph had a phenomenal game. I thought Pods played well.
yeah,
Moody hit a big shot in the corner. Jimmy was great today. Draymond was annoying the crap out of everybody. I mean, give credit to the Warriors, man. The Warriors came in and they punched him in the mouth. Like that's really what
yeah,
happened. Like they punched the Rockets in the mouth, and the
yeah.
Rockets staggered for a while, and they
Wow.
finally started fighting back. And they give the Rockets credit, but the Warriors just built too big of a lead. And then you have players like Steph and Jimmy who can hit clutch shots and make things happen, and who are used to being physical, like who have been in NBA Finals games and won NBA Finals in Steph's case. The physicality wasn't a surprise, and I hate the whole experience thing. That's one of the things that kind of bothers me when we talk basketball, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, like these kids and these men have played in huge games their
All your
whole
lives.
lives.
Yeah.
Where it's just when you're in AAU or in high school, like your state championship game is the biggest game in your of your life, and it feels huge. And then same thing with the NCAA tournament. Like there's you.
There's
This
levels.
is
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah.
first round of the NBA playoffs doesn't compare. I'm sorry. Like you might think it is because it's the NBA and whatnot, but I guarantee you, a lot of these guys have felt more pressure than they felt tonight. And that's how I feel, at least. So I don't think it's a pressure thing. I think it was more of the Rockets came into the game, the Warriors punched them in the mouth, and the Rockets were like, "Hey, they're punching us!" Like, and then it took them a while to be like, "Oh, you can do that."
Oh, we can do it. Okay, let's yeah.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
mean,
but
yeah,
I think that's a product of experience though. That's just product of experience knowing
yeah,
what you can get away with in the playoffs. And
yeah,
like you said, like what Draymond has, like the the best whistle in the NBA, hands down. Just some of the stuff he can get with nobody else. But same with Jimmy, understanding exactly what type of physicality they can play with throughout the course, and they were able to build that lead. It felt like in that third quarter, fourth quarter, when the Rockets were making that run and they were being also as physical. It was like, okay, like you said, hey, they figured out, hey, we can punch back a little bit,
yeah, yeah.
but it was a little too late
Too
because
late,
the
too late.
lead was kind of big, and it's kind of
Yeah,
hard to like. You work so hard to make a comeback. Sometimes you can't. It's hard to get over that hump right there.
yeah, yeah. And the Warriors. Shout out to the Warriors. I think the game kind of got away from the Rockets when the Warriors went to that zone, and against the Rockets, against the Warriors too. The Warriors are a fantastic defensive team. You want to get out and run, and you want to get easy shots.
Yeah.
The Rockets did get a lot of. They made a lot of their points by second chance, like second chance points, offensive rebounding. Like that's how they got back in the game, was getting physical then. And the Warriors, phenomenal game from Steph. And they're going to
Phenomenal.
need
Yeah.
more offensively. Like they only had 95 points today. I don't think you're going to hold the Rockets to 85 every single game in this series. So I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to be an issue when it comes to Houston. Like I don't think they're going to drop 85. I think they're going to have games where they're going to hit the three this time. You're not going to get nothing from Jalen. You're not going to get nothing from Fred. You're not going to get nothing from Dylan all
Yeah.
series. Like there's going to be games where they hit shots. But the same could be said, for the Warriors too. Like Moody hit a clutch shot at the end, but he really didn't give him much. Kaminga didn't play. Quentin Post didn't hit his typical threes. Like, so the Warriors too. Like if you look at it, Pods had 14, but outside of that, Hield had 2.
I
They didn't
mean,
really get much else.
I'll say this because I was gonna ask you about the Kaminga thing again, but when we always talked about Warriors, we're like, do they have other people that can step up and give them enough? And it felt like they did enough. Like Pods was able to give them just enough for the win.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I thought
so I
Pods played
mean,
well.
yeah, Pods played well. Like
Yeah,
to me, if they get enough like consistent play from, I guess, quote unquote, people say role players or the others, if they get enough from them, so you get enough from like Pods, Moody was playing both ends like really well in terms of defensively and like you said, hitting that shot. You like you said, you might get more than was it 2 points from Buddy Hield. He might go on one of his weird hot streaks and
Right.
rattle off like 3-4 threes. So it might just be enough. On top of getting this type of play from Curry and Jimmy Butler, like it could be enough. But to your point, I don't think the Rockets get this type of bad play from the backcourt throughout the whole series.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, because I think Fred hits some open threes, going down the line. I think Jalen becomes a little more aggressive. They got to figure out how to break that zone, though. I mean, Kerr didn't go through it the whole game. They played man as well, but they got it. They have to figure that out, and they have to get out and run. If they don't, this is going to be a shorter series than I anticipated because you just got to hit shots against the Warriors. You do, because even though Steph was hot today, Jimmy had a good game. Like we just said, like no one else for the Warriors really stepped up, and they have players who are capable of doing that. So if you're a Warriors fan, you're like, okay, yeah, Steph went off. Don't get me wrong, but like we still can play better too. It wasn't like the Rockets got the Warriors A game here. So if I'm a Warriors fan, I'm encouraged. You win game one on the road. You take home court advantage, and also you win a game in which everyone outside of your two stars really didn't do much. I don't know, man. We picked the Rockets in 6. Still sticking with it as well. I think the Rockets do take game 2. But definitely not the start that you want. Definitely everything that people were concerned about with the Rockets came into fruition today. It was just like if you're a Rockets fan, it's your worst fear.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the other thing. The first half, too many turnovers by the Rockets. Like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the Warriors got out and ran and got easy buckets and didn't let the Rockets D set up. That was the whole game. The second quarter was the whole game. Yeah.
And it's like Rockets are usually the ones that are turning people over and running. So for them to, if they want to have a chance, they got to pick that up. But again, credit to the Warriors and the Warriors defense for making that happen and playing this way. Like they are a championship, like not team, but a championship organization. So you have players who have been to the chip, who understand what it takes to win. So if the Rockets want to win this series, they got their stuff they got to clean up, and they need consistency starting from the backcourt and other players. But it's a great win by the Warriors, like you said.
All right, well, the Warriors beat the Rockets 95-85. Kwab and I will be back tomorrow. We got Knicks, Pistons. We got Clippers, Nuggets. Probably do recaps of both. We will see. But playoffs getting started. Fun weekend. Got a lot of basketball left.
A lot of basketball. Yeah. Too much basketball this weekend, by the way. It was way too much.
It was You can follow Dime everywhere at the Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez and score. He's Kwab at Kwab AKS. See you next time for another episode of Dime tomorrow. Knicks Pistons, baby. Let's go.
Detroit, what?